So now we continue with the exercise 5.2, and now I'm making the sauce for unit 1, which is the hot and spicy tomato sauce with Italian sausage. And here is the Italian sausage we got from the supermarket. As you can see here, there are casing out of the sausage, and for this recipe, we need to remove the casing before we cook it. So here, we use a knife, the tip of the knife, and to gently cut on the side of the sausage. And then you can see I can peel the casing. So here it is. We just put the casing on the side, and then we cut the sausage into little chunks, because later we need to put them into the pieces into the pot anyway, and by chopping them in here just make our job easier later. And put them into the plate. So here's all chopped the sausage, and then you already can see from in front of me there are all the ingredient listing for this recipe. Here's the carrots, onions, celery, mushroom, and this is the garlic, parsley, and then we have our canned tomato sauce, and later with the beef broth. So then we're gonna processing them all into the a saucepan on the stove. So now we are continuing exercise 5.2 with the unit 1 sauce, which is we are making the hot and spicy tomato sauce with the Italian sausage. Now it's actually coming to the sauce cooking part. So first we heat up the stove, and then we put around 2 teaspoons of canola oil. Here's one, and another one. So wait a little bit until the oil to get warm, and then we can put the sausage into the pot. So here's the sausage we cut before, and now we just pour them into the pot. And as you can hear, there's a sound, and then we are just poking the sausage and then trying to make them into smaller pieces. Make sure you stir them while you are chopping them, because otherwise only one side of the sausage will get cooked and another side still will be raw. So now all the sausage, the color is turning to brown and the liquids are clear, so that means the sausage is ready. And now, according to the recipe, it's time for us to put the garlic, carrots, mushrooms, celery, and the onions in. So first I will pour the garlic. Stir it a little bit. So after I put all of them in, we stir it, and we will put the tomato sauce and the beef broth until all the vegetables are soft in here. Actually, one more thing, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to add the fennel seed here. I almost forgot it. So it's around a teaspoon, and just put it in, and then stir them together to make the vegetables to be soft. So now the vegetables are already soft and then already smelling really good. So it is the time for us to add the chopped tomatoes from the can. Oops. And 2 teaspoons of the tomato paste. There's one. There's another 1 teaspoon. And this is the beef broth. Just pour them into the pot. Last will be the chopped parsley. So that is all the ingredients we need for this sauce. We kind of stir them. And then we're just gonna close the lid and then let the pot to be sit on the stove, and then around medium heat to let them to smear for like 45 to 50 minutes. So after 30 minutes of cooking, the sauce is ready, and then I already turned off the heat. So as you can see, the sauce have a little bit of juice, and then all the vegetables are very soft. So now is the time for us to scoop the sauce on the pastas. This is the pastas we made before. And now it's ready to eat.
Still exercise 5.2 and it's unit 2. We're making a tomato sauce with meatballs. So I'm just going to get the sauce started. I've heated a pan with some oil, and I'm going to add the onion. I've got quite a bit of onion to saute. So we'll keep this on the heat until the onion is starting to look translucent. Okay, so the onions have sauteed a little bit, and I'm going to add the garlic that we minced. Stir that together, and it needs about 1 minute for the garlic. And then I'm going to add the rest of our ingredients. So we have a can of diced tomatoes, we have beef broth, a little bit of sugar to counteract the acidity in the tomatoes, and then we're going to add pepper and salt to taste. And then we've also got some fresh herbs, so we have fresh parsley and basil. To cook the sauce, we'll bring this up to a boil, and once it reaches a boil, I'll turn down the heat and let it simmer for 35 to 40 minutes.
So now this is exercise 5.2 with the unit 2 meatball making. So here is the old ingredient in front of me. Start from here is the Parmesan cheese, dry breadcrumbs, moisturized breadcrumbs, chopped onion, fresh parsley, grounded beef, grounded pork, eggs, and salt and pepper. So according to the recipe, they also have like the ground veal, but unfortunately we do not have them in the lab, so we will use ground beef to replace that. So according to the recipe, we will mix all the ingredients except for the canola oil into a large bowl, and then kind of massage it and make them into a round meatball. So now I'm actually gonna mix all the ingredients. And then the pork, I only need a half of them because the whole pack is like a 500 grams. Open up the parsley. So the moisturized breadcrumbs is just made by the bread. We like use the food blender to blend it, and then the dry breadcrumb is just like the commercial one. And the last one is the Parmesan cheese. And for the eggs, we're gonna beaten the eggs before we actually put in. So when it looks like that, it's okay to pour the eggs into here. And also according to the recipe, they have to put around like 1.5 ml of the nutmeg flour instead of nutmeg powder. Here it is. The salt and pepper later for the taste, but now we have to massage them, and then to let all the ingredients to mix together. So when it looks like that, that means it's ready to be rolled into the bowls. So basically we just grab a little bit of the ground beef and pork mix, and then we roll them into like a small balls around this size, and then we put them on like a plate for later use. And it will be better if you like wear a glove to do the meatball rolling, because the meat can like they tend to stick on your hand if like you do not have gloves. So now all the meatballs are ready. It's time for us to like frying them. We have a big frying pan here and I already warmed it up. So we're gonna pour some canola oil here. It's like 2 teaspoons, but since the pan is really big, I might pour it a little bit more. Then we will put the meatballs in the pan. You can use whatever tools you're comfortable with, or you even can use a spoon, but here like I decided to use this tool. So leave some space between each meatball, make sure they are not like sticking with each other. And for the rest of the meatball, I will cook in the next row.
Okay, the pasta sauce has been simmering, and now we're just going to put it in a food processor to blend it up to a smoother sauce. You could also do this in a blender if that's what you have. Okay, I'm just going to put it on low and I'm going to mix it up a bit. I'll stop it when I like the texture of it. Kind of depends on preference. So I think we'll stop it here. You could make it smoother if you'd like. But I'll just take this off so you can see what we've got going on for texture inside. So I'll put this back on the stove, and then when the meatballs are ready, we're going to add that in and cook the meatballs further. Now that the meatballs are browned, we're going to add them to the pasta sauce. And I'm not sure that they're cooked fully through to the middle. So we're just going to make sure that this simmers for 15 minutes or so to make sure that the meatballs get fully cooked through. So we'll let this simmer. And then I'll probably even check one before I serve it by cutting it open and making sure that there's no pink. Or using an using a thermometer to check the temperature. Okay, the meatballs have been simmering in the sauce for about 15 minutes and they're ready to go. So here we have a plate of the fettuccine we made earlier, and I'm just going to top that with a bit of meatballs and sauce. Okay, we're continuing with exercise 5.2. We've made the lasagna noodles, and we're going to actually cook a whole lasagna and use those noodles. So the first step is to saute some onions. I've got a pan with a little bit of oil. I've heated that up already, and I'm just going to take a few minutes to saute these onions until they're tender. They'll start to look translucent when they're ready. And while I'm doing this, I've also preheated my oven to 350, so it's ready to go when I have the lasagna sauces and noodles all prepared. The onions are looking ready, so I'm going to take them off the heat and bring them over to my workstation. So in one bowl, I'm going to combine the onions. I also have some spinach. It was frozen in a package, and I just thawed it and then drained most of the water out so that the sauce isn't too soggy. And then I'm going to add a container of ricotta cheese. 500 mils. And half a cup of grated Parmesan. I have an egg here. I'm just gonna quickly, I've cracked the egg, but I'm just gonna quickly beat it up. And add it. 2 tablespoons of parsley that we've chopped up. And then salt and pepper just to taste. I'm not gonna measure, but you could. And I'm not gonna use too much salt because the cheeses are pretty salty. Okay, so we're gonna stir this up in one bowl. Okay, that's looking well mixed. And then in a second bowl, I'm going to add some jarred meatless pasta sauce. So I'm gonna use about 1.5 of these jars. And then I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And then we'll also give that a mix. And I'm going to use the same spoon because it's going in the same dish. Okay, so this bowl is ready to go. Okay, I'm going to start layering the lasagna. So I'm just going to put a little bit of sauce in the bottom of the pan. This will just help so that the noodles don't stick to the bottom. And then I am going to layer about half of the noodles that we just cooked. Okay, and then we're going to put half of the ricotta cheese mixture. Spread this out. Then we are going to add half of the sauce that's left here. And half of the mozzarella that we grated up earlier. And then we're just going to repeat. So we'll do lasagna noodles, ricotta cheese, sauce, and the rest of the mozzarella. So we finished layering the lasagnas, finishing with mozzarella cheese on top. And this will just go in the preheated oven for 35 to 40 minutes. Baking for 40 minutes, and it looks perfect. The cheese is melted, the sauce is bubbling. So we'll give this a couple of minutes to rest before we slice into it and it's ready to eat.